Okay, we're going to do a quick ChatGPT demo on how to write code. The objective of the code would be to compare CSV files to see if they've got the same data in. So you look at this one, it's got 4 columns with data, S1A compared to S1B, which only has 3 columns, that's an error. S2, it's got 3 columns, A compared to S2B, it's the same columns, but there's data missing. And S4 looks the same A as B. To look at this another way, the files we're going to compare all sit in a folder, and did a quick aggregation here of the data, and you can see that it all sits in a folder. It's comma delimited, and what we're going to do is we're going to compare S1A with S1B, S2A with B, and this is a quick uh, extraction of the data. You'll see that A has got a column B doesn't have. In S2, there's some table variances. There is no S3, and S4 is exactly the same. So that's what's in the data. Now, we want the application in Python to use this table compare, which says compare S1 to S2. When the run flag is yes, join them on ID and create a report called S1. That's the basic vibe. Right. Now, main.py is empty. I've run this through ChatGPT already. I'm just going to show you exactly what happened and what it looked like. Okay, so there's the conversation. Took about 10 or so steps. So the first thing I said to it is write Python code to compare a set of CSV files or sets of CSV files. Write it all in main.py and respond with a full py file every time. Okay, so it went straight out of the blocks, gave me some code. If we look at the code, it wrote 3 functions, one to read the file, one to compare the data, passing 2 data sets, and a main function to organize all of it with the files hard coded. So that's not going to run. I only want runnable code. So then I gave it a bit more of a clear instruction. And I said, okay, update the code to use that compare file. I pasted the compare file here in this text format. It actually took the Excel format here as well. And I said, right, use that as input. Let's see what happens. He then figured out what it needs to do. Press play. And you can see there's now an error. Okay, and it's a key error. And the reason was my instruction wasn't well formed. I basically said compare the files without any error handling instructions. So if I go back to showing you what the data looks like, you'll notice that there was an extra column, so that's where the process fell over. So then I corrected that conversation with the AI and I said, I received this key error because 2 files, the columns didn't match. Do this. If the row count matches, check if it matches. If it doesn't, print to an error log. Check if the columns match. If it doesn't, print to an error log. Okay, that was the next piece of code I got. Let's run it. And there you go. It found the errors in S2. It did not run S3 because it was set as do not run. And then it didn't find any differences in S4, exactly as we expected. Right, the next thing I did was to build a report. And then I said, okay, cool. The first report needs to look like compare Excel sheet. So basically needs to look like this. That's the compare Excel sheet data. And I want you to add a column called result. And if it's a pass, write there pass, otherwise write there fail. Okay, and it's a pass if there's no data errors and if the columns and rows match. Okay, let's have a look at that. Okay, it ran, which means there now should be some form of report, comparison report.slsx. Let's have a look in the folder. There it is. And I'm expecting file 4 to pass and the rest to fail. File 4 passes, the rest fails. 3 doesn't run because I told it don't run. Okay, now you want to see the data for the fails. So that was my next instruction. Okay, said, oh, first I updated the report a little bit, not just pass and fail, but to say if it's because the columns don't match, write call. If it's because the rows don't match row, otherwise if there's a data problem, write data. Okay, let's see. Just need to close the Excel sheets. We're good. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, column was the problem, data was the problem, didn't run, pass. Perfect. Right, next step is to write out the actual fields and rows where there was a problem. So look at the instruction. Write out errors.excel. Create me a table with these columns, report. So that tells me the table name, the column I'm looking at, the value in table A, the value in table B, and the key, the value of the key, so I can know which row I'm looking at. Look at how simple this instruction is. Let's have a look. Running it. No errors. Let's have a look in the folder. And there's the file. I'm expecting 3 errors in it. Perfect. There's the 3 errors. In column C1 there's 2. In C2 there's 1, which is exactly the same as what I'm expecting here. 1 error here, 2 errors there. Great stuff. Now, next thing, I want to display this data in an HTML page just to make it look nice, right? Before I can go to HTML, I have to convert the data to a JavaScript object notation structure or JSON. So I basically said, take those 2 reports, give me the JSON code in the folder. Let's run it. Errors is open. Perfect. Now I should have JSON files. Let's look at them. Well, they should be right here. Okay, and you'll see it's simple name value pairs in an array. It gives me a table, and comparison.json similarly gives me that table as an array of name value pairs. Great stuff. So this now I can read into an HTML page. So the way you do that is you use a file picker to go and select the HTML page from your browser. So let's give ChatGPT the instruction. I'm saying write an HTML, CSS, JavaScript report showing the data, put it all for me in one page, use Bootstrap 5, give me a file picker so I can give you the 2 JSON files, show the data in HTML tables. And then I don't want to show all the data all the time. So go look at the report field, give me a drop down so that I can select which table I want to look at. That's basically that instruction in a nutshell. Let's see what happens. Now it creates a HTML file for me. I've got an empty one here, I think. Right, let's stick it in. Okay, and let's run it. There you go. So I made a mistake here. I basically picked the wrong JSON file to go with the wrong. Well, it still works here. In any case, I made some form of a error here, which led me to believe there was a problem in the code. Okay, so then I gave it another instruction, ChatGPT, because I'm replaying this conversation now. I said to it, there's a problem here. There's a problem here. This is the problem. Please fix it. It then identified some problem, gave me new code. So to be consistent, I'll paste it here. I'll run it again. Comparison report JSON, errors report JSON, and you'll see that I can also look at it one table at a time. Okay, then I thought, well, that's not pretty. Let's make it nice. So the next thing I told ChatGPT was, now use Bootstrap 5. You seem to have forgotten. Create a black and white theme. And now it's black and white. Alrighty. Then, last thing is how do you learn now? How do you learn from ChatGPT doing all your code? So the next thing I did was I asked it to please explain to me carefully what's going on. So I said, please provide detailed comments in the main.py file and explain the code to a novice. And you'll see in the next iteration of the code, it actually went and explained all the imports, every single line, had a comment to show exactly how the code works, right? Then the next thing I said was, I want to see a sequence diagram in plant UML format. So plant UML is a way to generate sequence diagrams with code. So maybe I can run it for you. Okay, so it does that. Let's have a look at what it looks like. .puml. And there you go. There's a sequence diagram for the main.py file, explaining exactly how it works. Only thing left to say thank you to the robot, and off you go. Thank you very much.